I get it, you're scrolling through a sea of industrial sewing machines, all promising that they'll handle heavyweight fabrics like a champ, but every time you finally get one home it feels more like a paperweight than a workhorse. The worst part is the disappointment you feel after spending a decent chunk of cash, only to discover the machine can't keep up with a thick denim panel or a stubborn canvas tote bag. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's break down whether the Juki heavy material industrial straight stitch actually lives up to the hype, or if you'd be better off putting that money toward a different setup. First off, the Juki you're looking at isn't a plug-and-play unit. It ships as 3 separate parts: the machine head with a handful of accessories, a servo motor with a belt, and a sturdy tabletop with legs. That means you'll spend a few minutes or maybe an hour assembling it before you can even thread a needle. For a seasoned shop owner, that's no big deal. Most of us have a workbench and a toolbox, and a quick read of the manual gets the motor humming. If you've never assembled industrial equipment, though, the learning curve can feel steep, especially when you're trying to get the belt tension just right. Too loose, and you'll hear the motor gasp. Too tight, and the motor can overheat. It's a hidden trade-off that many listings gloss over, but it's worth keeping in mind before you order. Now, why does Juki break the machine into those 3 pieces? The answer is actually pretty clever. By separating the motor from the head, they reduce vibration transferred to the table, which translates into steadier stitching on heavy layers. In real-world terms, I've seen this setup hold up a 12-ounce denim cushion without the needle skipping or the fabric puckering. That's a practical strength you won't get from a lighter home sewing model that tries to do everything with a single, less robust motor. The servo motor itself is a standout. Unlike older induction motors that can be noisy and draw a lot of power, the servo runs quietly and adjusts speed on the fly as you press the foot pedal. If you're stitching a thick leather strap and need to slow down at a tight corner, the motor responds instantly, giving you better stitch control without having to manually change gears. For anyone who does a lot of repeat work like upholstery shops or small manufacturers, this consistency can shave minutes off each piece, which adds up over a day's production. What about the table? It's not just a flat surface. The legs are reinforced with steel brackets, and the tabletop is designed to hold the head at a comfortable working height. I've set it up on a concrete floor in a garage, and the whole assembly stayed rock solid, even when I leaned over to pull a stubborn piece of canvas through the feed. That stability is a real benefit when you're handling materials that tend to shift, like multiple layers of denim or a thick canvas banner. The table also gives you room to attach a seam guide or a fabric holder, something you'll appreciate if you need to keep a long strip of fabric aligned. Let's talk about who should actually consider this machine. If you run a small business that makes bags, jackets, or upholstered furniture, and you regularly work with fabrics that are 10 ounces or heavier, the Juki gives you the muscle you need without forcing you into a fully automated computer-controlled system. It's also a good fit for hobbyists who have stepped up from domestic machines to tackle projects like leather belts, heavy-duty tote bags, or even canvas art. The price point is reasonable for an industrial-grade head and motor, especially when you factor in the durability that Juki's Green Procurement guidelines imply, meaning the components are built to last and meet certain environmental standards, which can be a plus if you're conscious about sustainability. On the flip side, if you're a casual sewer who only occasionally needs to stitch a thick blanket, this might be overkill. The machine only offers a straight stitch, so you won't get decorative stitches, buttonholes, or blind stitches without buying extra attachments that can be cumbersome. Also, because the motor and head are separate, you'll need a little extra floor space for the motor housing. If your workshop is already cramped, that could become a practical nuisance. And don't forget the assembly requirement. If you're hoping for a box that you can pull out of the package and start stitching right away, this isn't it. Another practical weakness to be aware of is the limited set of accessories that come with the base package. You get the basic presser foot and a few simple tools, but you'll likely need to purchase a heavier-duty needle set, a walking foot, and maybe a larger bobbin case if you plan to handle very thick layers. Those extra parts aren't cheap, and they're not included in the price you see online. That's not a flaw.